Hi everyone. Thank you for watching my video. Now, I'm going to talk about what to eat and what to do when you're traveling, when you're going on vacation, being raw vegan, because that's what I'm all about. And yes, I go to the fruits, baby, for deep detoxification, regeneration, and healing, because I'm Hilde Larsen, and most of my time I spend coaching people on health and mindset. I'm also an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a detox specialist, and most of all, I'm a life enthusiast. This is why I'm talking to you from nature. This is Norway. This is the best that there is during summer. Why? Because wild food and medicine. Now, traveling. Several of my clients ask me, most of all from my membership group also, they ask me, what about traveling? Can you make a video on traveling? Because it's hard. And in terms it is, but in practicality, it's very simple. What's hard is just changing the mindset. Because first of all, okay, so who's traveling? You, right? So this is you going on a trip. It could be a business trip, it could be a fun trip with girlfriends, it could be a family vacation, it could be a cruise, or it could be that you just move, going all over the place and you have long flights to take. We're talking about airports, train stations, in the flight itself, the whole 9 yards. So what I've experienced is this. Number one, I had to deal with weight, bringing a lot of fruit on board and taking it to airports and planes. I got into weight issue because, we have to realize it takes volume and it weighs a lot. So that I had to consider. The second thing was, if you prepare too much, it tends to go smushy, and especially on train rides. It compresses and decompresses, and it just doesn't stay very pleasant or fresh looking for long. So there were many things to take into consideration, and I was tweaking. I've been traveling back and forth between Europe and America, for example, several times a year, and I know how important it is to just feel that you have everything you need. And that's where I want to start with you. So if we first start with you establishing who's going to go on the trip, meaning if you're going, it's a trip for you. Again, it's something that you're co-creating. So that means that it's something you want. You need to either not take the trip if this is not for you, or you need to change your mindset so that you know that you're actually in charge. And this goes for everything in your life, actually. It goes for your diet, it goes for your relationships, it goes for your work, it goes for your family life. Excuse me. If you're not owning it as something that you're creating, you'll feel like a victim. And a lot of people, when they go traveling, even on road trips with family, they feel victimized in the sense that their chosen diet doesn't go along with their chosen trip. So what to do? Now that's disempowerment. So first of all, always the mindset. You're empowered. You're choosing this. This is your trip. This is your travel. Now let's make it pleasurable for you and easy. Now there are several different types of travels. First of all, I'm going to talk about just getting from A to B, because it's different from just taking a trip than staying on a cruise for a week or renting a cabin in the woods for 2 or 3 weeks, with the kids and the family and everything, or the in-laws and the aunts and the uncles. So there are many different things, or staying at a hotel. I've done that a lot of times. Staying for a week in a hotel, then what do you do? Now, let's start with moving from A to B. Now, going on a plane trip, I have noticed that if you go into certain countries, they will not let you bring fresh fruits. So I could take it on the plane, but I couldn't take it off the plane again, which was problematic for me, because you might have a layover and you have to wait until the next plane. You come to a small airport, all they have is French fries and, McChicken. So I learned that what they would accept me to bring into another country was always the dried fruit. The restrictions are only for the fresh. This is great news. So I bring dates and I bring raisins. And you can have any dried fruit. Just keep that in your purse, not in your luggage. Keep it not even in your regular, carry-on, but your purse, so that you always have something handy for those not fasting, moving from A to B. That's another option. For those more advanced, fast, you know, or do a water fast. It works perfectly. You don't have to think about any of this. But if that's not you, okay. So dried fruits will do. If you're not on a high fruit diet, if you're staying raw, but you still haven't gone low fat, of course we're talking nuts, you know, then you could go to that end if you needed to have something readily available. Now, except for that, I found that bringing along things that didn't need preparation was what held up the best. Meaning, if you can find some fresh peaches, put them in your carry-on. Grapes, put them in the carry-on. Anything that you don't have to cut up. Apples, bananas. It's easy. That's how easy it is. That's how simple it is. It doesn't have to be complicated. You know how long your trip is going to last. You know how much you eat in a day or however long the trip's going to take. So just bring it with. That's the only thing you can do, is bring it with. So that's the simple part. Just know that once you get off that plane, if you have switched country, you might not be able to take any of that food with you. And several times before I learned, because I forgot, my beautiful food that I had brought to eat once I landed and got into the lounge in the airport was taken from me. So only if I had some date and raisins in there, they would leave that with me. So good to know, right? Now, if you're going on a road trip and you're traveling from A to B, now that all of that is taken out, then I would of course prepare. I mean, make little jars your best friend. Make a cooler your best friend. Smoothies, juices, pre-prepared, cut up mangoes. No, I mean watermelons. Yeah, mangoes. Anything you like. See, it's about empowerment. It's not about what everybody else is doing. It's not about where you can stop. It's never about that. It's about you taking charge and making it your trip. Making it about you and making sure it fits into what you're doing. So make sure you have a cooler and fruit that keeps for a while in the cool, and then just prepare and have it along the way. Find pit stops, you know, stop, get outside in nature, take off your shoes, ground yourself while you're driving, very important. I can feel on my energy that if I drive for a long period of time and I don't ground, I'll be the one on the road trip. Every hour and a half, I'll stop, get out, put my feet on the grass, maybe even sit for 5 minutes, have an apple, connect a little bit, and then drive. It just keeps your energy high and flowing, because just driving a car, it's draining. For the reason that you're not at all grounded. Same thing with flying in an airplane. You're so high up, so compressed everything. Your cells are under so much strain that when you get off, when you get out, ground yourself. Ground yourself. That's nutrients for the body. That's real food. Healing food. Okay. So we got that. So you get to where you want to go. Now say you're going on a cruise. Which is, I think, probably the most tricky one, because you're kind of stuck, even though that's kind of victim. You're on there. So again, is the vacation for you? If it is, that means you will either have the ability to bring something on board, which I doubt. So you need to plan with the cruise line. You need to make sure that the ship that you're going on can provide something for you. And it doesn't have, you don't have to restrict yourself. Say that you're home and you're only eating organic, for example, because that can happen. And that's happened to me. I only eat organics. And I've added when I can, meaning I will always choose it. And when I'm in my regular habitat where I live and where I have my houses, I know where to go get what I need. So it's never a problem. When I travel, I had to open to saying, I'm going to eat as much as organic as I can, and I'm going to open for doing local, or what food is closest to my standard, so that I never feel deprived or like a victim, so that I can always indulge and take, you know, part of what's going on in the country or in the area that I'm visiting. Planning ahead. That being said, when I've traveled around in America, actually, I've been pinning out food first, because I need to make sure it's for me. So if there's not a Whole Food, I'm not going. That's how easy, you know, and simple it is for me. Now, when I go to foreign countries like South America, I went to Peru, there was a lot of organics there, but also some that wasn't. And I was not staying away from that. I was still eating that. I was allowing myself to eat that. And that's totally fine. You need to loosen up a little bit and always do the best that you can. That's how we live. That's the world that we live in right now. And nature, which I'm out in, it's actually here to balance all of that, you know? So don't worry about it. So that's you getting to where you want to go. Now, if you're on that cruise, you could talk to the cruise. They usually have a lot of greens because they make salads every day, and fruit, because at breakfast they make fruit. So if breakfast is closed or lunch is closed, you can always talk to the kitchen and they will bring you whatever you need. So again, if you're on top of it, it's never a problem. Now, when I travel, in my suitcase, say if I'm traveling from one country to another and I'm going to stay at a hotel, I will bring typically, and especially if I'm driving a car, I will bring typically my citrus juicer. This is like a small, very lightweight citrus juicer, like a $29 thing, because that's a big staple in my diet. My oranges, my grapes, and my lemons. So that way, even at a hotel room, I actually bring, well, not on a flight, but when I drive on my road trip, you'll see my knife. Because I have the ceramic knife that I will never part with. So my knife and a cutting board and my citrus juicer goes into any hotel room when I come from driving, because you can't, you know, and I could bring it if I brought, you know, a large suitcase on the plane. Of course, I'll bring my knife. And just get oranges, and right there I have my morning. I always have my juices at the hotel room. Now, I won't bring a whole smoothie maker unless I'm driving to a cabin and staying somewhere for weeks. I will not bring the whole Vitamix for that. I will adjust if I was used to blending anything, which I sometimes do in the summer here in Norway, especially with all the berries. I blend them sometimes. I love that. I will just adjust to eating everything. I have my juice and I will eat whatever I can get where I get there. But the juice is my staple. I can then get up in the morning and know I get my juice. I can go half the day and make my juice. And another thing, if I'm going on a road trip, I will take that cooler into my hotel room and I will have the reception freeze my little thingies, put that in and bring. I have these cute little coolers you can get. It's just like for 1 or 2 bottles of juice. You just put it on your arm and it just looks like a little purse. So genius. Again, bring the dried fruits with you. So if you have dried fruits and you have a citrus juicer, then you can pretty much get along just by doing that. So that's what I will do if I go hotel. I'm wondering if there's anything else that I didn't mention, because I don't think so. See, it's simple. To me, it's simple. It's just because I always took charge. I never said I can't do that because they won't have anything for me to eat, or I can't adjust to that lifestyle, or going there won't fit with mine. I made it fit with mine because I knew that I was in control of me. I was the boss. I was the queen. I was the one creating my reality. So I stepped up and I said, this is how we're going to do it. And I did. And it works. So know this. It doesn't matter where you're going, how long you're staying for. You can always bring with or plan ahead. Another thing I do. So I'm going to Hawaii, both Maui and Kauai. First time, never been. So I'm really excited, and the islands are calling me from deep within. Now, planning that trip and planning where I'm going to stay, I'm always on top of things. I research. I call them. I let them know who I am and what I need for my stay, and to see if it's a good fit. I always go through the area. We have Google and Facebook, and you can ask people that have been there before to figure out where are their organic fruits. So I know before I go where the organic farms are, where is the best place for me to stay, where I would, you know, get everything that I appreciate the most, closest to nature, closest to stillness. So that's all on us. Again, you are the one taking the trip. You plan it. Now, if it's for business, which is the only exception the way I see it, that you might be called to do some traveling that is not in your planning. equation. So then you adjust, not as a victim, but as a creator. You will always be able to get the how and the when and the where. So you take that information and you step up and you adjust accordingly. Okay? And always work within the best that you can do. Life is not about what happens between Christmas and New Year's, but between New Year's and Christmas. Meaning, it's never about what happens during 1 week, but the rest of the year. And the rest of the year is reflecting your mindset. Meaning, that's what's planning that 1 week. You, who you have created you to be during the whole year. Never let it stop you. Never let your diet, lifestyle, intentions or aspirations, goals, desires, passions, or missions ever be held back by anything outside of you. Adjust as much as you can. Take charge of everything that you can take charge of. And believe me, that's more than you might think. So much more. We're in charge of almost freaking everything. So happy travels. That's a few clues to you. Now, I just made the most amazing affirmation tracks. I wanted to tell you that. Affirmation tracks. You know, almost saved my life when I was listening to Louise Hay way back in the day. Just to have that in my ear. And going on a road trip or sitting on a plane or sitting in a noisy airport, I made the affirmation tracks that talks about what I talk about. Reprogramming you to believe in your detoxification, raw food, longevity. I'm talking about cravings. I'm talking about addictions, detoxification in general, you know, how to set your mindset for amazing health. So go to my shop at inspiredbyhilde.com and get the information. Instant download, ding, 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 cost almost nothing. Things like that. It's about being in the planning mode and making everything work best for you. So happy travels, happy vacation, happy work travel. And I'm happy to have you here. Honored to be speaking to you. So any comment you want to leave below, please do. Subscribe to this channel, share this video if you know anyone that could benefit from it, and we'll talk soon. Bye for now.